What if you are not wasting your life in one big dramatic way? What if you are losing it quietly, 10 minutes at a time, while waiting for the perfect day to begin? Today, we are talking about the small habits that steal our attention, the dreams we keep saying we will start someday, and one simple way to take back the next page of our lives.
That opening made me sit up a little straighter, especially the word someday. Someday sounds hopeful, but sometimes it is just a polite name for never.
That's uncomfortable but true. Welcome to Beyond English Class, where we learn useful English through clear, meaningful conversations. I'm Aaliyah.
And I'm Avery. Today, you will hear natural English for talking about time, goals, and the things that matter to you.
Avery, have you ever reached the end of a day and wondered, what did I actually do today?
More times than I want to admit. Last Sunday, I picked up my phone after breakfast. I wanted to check one message. Then I watched a video, read some comments, and looked at things I didn't even care about. When I finally looked at the clock, almost 3 hours had passed.
Did you enjoy those 3 hours?
That's the strange part. I didn't. If I had watched a good movie with a friend, I probably would have enjoyed it, but this felt different. I was busy, but I wasn't choosing anything. I was simply reacting to whatever appeared next.
Wasting your life does not mean you must work every minute. Fun, sleep, and quiet time are not bad. The problem is living without choosing until the things you value receive no attention.
So the real problem is not always what we do. It's whether we're awake to our choices.
Yes. Imagine your life as a book with blank pages. Every day, you write one page through the choices you make. Some pages will be exciting, some will be peaceful, some will be difficult. But if you never choose what to write, other people, habits, and distractions will fill the pages for you.
I like the book image, but let me challenge it. We cannot control every page. People lose jobs, become sick, or face family problems. Sometimes life writes something we didn't choose.
You are right. Being intentional does not mean controlling everything. It means deciding how you will respond with the choices you still have. You may not choose the situation, but you can often choose one sentence on the page.
That feels more honest. We're not blaming people for difficult circumstances. We're asking, what small choice is still mine?
Exactly. Let's begin with the first quiet way people waste their lives, living on autopilot. When you're on autopilot, you repeat actions without thinking carefully about them.
Like opening your phone every time you feel slightly bored.
Or saying yes to every invitation because you're afraid to disappoint people. Or following the same routine for years without asking whether it still fits the person you are becoming.
How can someone notice that they are living on autopilot?
Ask, did I choose this or did I just continue it? First, notice. Awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. Now you can see where you are walking.
Let's give listeners a moment. Think about yesterday. Was there one activity you did automatically, even though you didn't really want or need to do it?
Maybe it was scrolling, complaining, watching another episode, or agreeing to something you had no time for. Don't judge yourself, simply notice it.
The second quiet problem is putting off what matters. To put something off means to delay it. We often tell ourselves, I will start when I have more time, more confidence, or more energy.
I knew an English learner named Lena who wanted to speak confidently at work. She studied for almost 2 years, but avoided real conversations. She kept saying, I will speak when my English is better.
I understand that feeling. Speaking before you feel ready can be uncomfortable.
Then, a coworker asked Lena where to find a meeting room. Lena knew the answer, but only pointed down the hall. Later, she realized that waiting was not making her confident. Speaking would build confidence.
What did she change?
She made a tiny rule. Every workday, she would begin one short English conversation. Sometimes she only asked, "How is your morning going?" The conversations were not perfect, but after a few weeks, they felt normal instead of frightening.
So she stopped waiting for confidence and started creating it.
Yes. Action often comes before confidence. That doesn't mean taking a huge risk. It means choosing a small version of the thing you've been avoiding.
There's another reason people put things off. Sometimes a goal is too large and unclear. I want to improve my life gives you no clear place to begin.
A clear first step is easier. Instead of, I will become fluent, try, tonight I will record myself speaking for 1 minute. Instead of, I will get healthy, try, after dinner I will walk for 10 minutes.
Small actions may look unimpressive, but they write real sentences on that blank page.
And a real sentence is more valuable than a perfect chapter that exists only in your imagination. There is a third way we lose time, and this one is easy to hide: comparison. We look at someone else's career, English, home, or confidence, and suddenly our own progress feels too small.
Comparison can quietly take us out of our own lives. We spend so much attention watching another person's page that we stop writing ours.
I agree partly. The important question is what happens after you compare. Healthy comparison gives you information. That person practices speaking every day. I could try that. Unhealthy comparison attacks your identity. They are talented and I am a failure.
One gives you a direction, the other takes away your energy.
Yes, and online, we often compare our ordinary Tuesday to someone else's best moment. We see the promotion, not the years of preparation. We hear confident English, not the thousands of mistakes that came before it.
I remember comparing myself with a friend who seemed to finish every project quickly. I thought I was lazy. Then we worked together and I learned that he started projects months before mentioning them. I was comparing my beginning with something he had nearly finished.
That must have changed your perspective.
It did. Now, when comparison appears, I try to ask, what useful information can I take from this? If there is none, I return my attention to my next step.
That is practical. Now we need to talk about distraction. Many people believe they have a time management problem, but sometimes they have an attention problem.
Explain the difference.
Everyone receives the same number of hours in the day, but our attention can be broken into tiny pieces. A notification interrupts us, then a message arrives, then we remember something else. Even when we have free time, it may not feel usable because our mind keeps changing direction.
My first response would be delete every distracting app.
That may help some people, but I don't think everyone needs to do that. Phones also connect us with family, work, and useful learning. A better question may be, what boundary would protect the activity I care about?
Fair point. A boundary is a clear limit. It could be keeping the phone away from the dinner table or turning off notifications while studying.
Or choosing one 30-minute period when you do only one thing. You're not trying to become a perfectly focused person. You're making room for one meaningful activity.
I tried something similar after my 3-hour Sunday scroll. Before picking up my phone, I asked, what am I opening it to do? If I had no answer, I waited. I still used my phone, but the question interrupted the automatic habit.
That is a simple form of intention. You created a small space between the feeling and the action.
We should also discuss something that productivity advice often gets wrong. Rest is not wasted life.
I'm glad you said that. A meaningful page doesn't need to be full of achievements. It can include a slow breakfast, a conversation with your mother, an afternoon nap, or music that makes you feel peaceful.
Then how do we distinguish real rest from avoidance?
Notice how you feel afterward. Helpful rest usually gives something back. You may feel calmer, clearer, or more connected. Avoidance often leaves the important problem waiting while adding stress or regret.
Although even good rest doesn't always make us feel energetic immediately.
True, this is not a perfect test. We need honesty, not strict rules. Ask, am I choosing this because it supports me or because I'm afraid to face something? The answer may be different on different days.
A few years ago, my Uncle Marcos worked long hours and treated every free moment as another chance to be productive. He answered emails during dinner and listened to work calls while playing with his daughter.
That sounds exhausting for everyone.
It was. One evening, his daughter asked him to look at a drawing. He said, in a minute, without looking up. Later, he found the drawing beside his laptop. It showed the family at a park, but he was drawn far away, holding a phone.
That's a powerful image.
He didn't quit his job or completely change his schedule. He made one boundary. From dinner until his daughter went to bed, his phone stayed in a drawer. That small decision gave him 1 hour of real presence each evening.
His story shows that not wasting your life isn't about doing more. Sometimes it means being fully present for what's already in front of you.
We've talked about autopilot, delay, comparison, distraction, and real rest. But a listener may be thinking, this sounds good. What do I actually do today?
Begin with one page, not your whole life story. Choose one meaningful action that takes less than 15 minutes. Send the message, open the book, practice the introduction, walk outside, sit beside someone you love, and listen without checking your phone.
Then protect a small time for it. Not someday. Give it a place. After breakfast, during lunch, or before bed.
Finally, accept an imperfect beginning. Your first conversation may feel awkward. Your first walk may be short. Your first page may be messy. That doesn't make the action meaningless. It makes it real.
Before we finish, let's slow down and revisit some useful English from today.
Our first expression is on autopilot. When you do something on autopilot, you do it automatically, without giving it much thought. For example, I opened social media on autopilot while I was waiting for the bus. You could also say, for years, I followed the same routine on autopilot.
Our second expression is put something off. It means to delay doing something. You might say, I keep putting off my English practice because I am afraid of making mistakes. In another situation, we put off the meeting until Friday because 2 people were absent.
Notice that we can say put something off or put off something, but with a short pronoun, we usually place it in the middle. For example, do not put it off.
The next word is meaningful. Something meaningful feels important or valuable to you. Helping my neighbor was a meaningful experience. Or you could say, we had a meaningful conversation about our future.
Our fourth expression is get around to something. It means finally doing something you intended to do, often after a delay. For example, I finally got around to organizing my desk. Another example is, I haven't gotten around to answering that email yet.
That expression is common when the task is not urgent but has been waiting for your attention. Avery finally got around to cleaning the kitchen. Avery is also pretending that this is only an example.
I had a feeling it was personal. Our next expression is caught up in. If you are caught up in something, it has taken so much of your attention that you may forget other things. I got caught up in a television series and stayed awake too late. Or she was so caught up in work that she forgot to call her friend.
Number 6 is make room for. It means creating enough time, space, or attention for something. You can say, I'm making room for English practice in my morning routine. In a different situation, we moved the chairs to make room for everyone.
Our seventh word is intentional. Being intentional means making a choice on purpose. For example, I'm trying to be more intentional about how I use my evenings. You might also say, their simple home design was intentional, not unfinished.
And our final word is boundary. A boundary is a limit that protects your time, space, or well-being. I set a boundary and stopped answering work messages during dinner. Another example is the fence marks the boundary between the 2 gardens.
Let's practice one useful sentence together. Listen first. I have been putting off my English practice, but today I will begin with 10 minutes. Now try saying it out loud.
Here's a shorter variation. I have put this off long enough. I am starting today.
And here's a gentler version. I do not need to finish everything today. I only need to begin. Now personalize it. Say, I have been putting off blank, but today I will blank. Give yourself a moment to complete the sentence.
Your small challenge is to write that sentence in the comments or say it out loud 3 times. Choose something real, but keep the first action small enough to do today.
Here are 4 simple steps you can take. First, notice one activity you often do on autopilot. Second, choose one meaningful action that takes less than 15 minutes. Third, decide exactly when you will do it. Fourth, use one expression from today to describe your plan in English.
Let's bring everything together. Not wasting your life doesn't mean working every minute. It means noticing when autopilot, delay, comparison, or distraction is choosing for you. It means protecting time for real rest, meaningful work, and the people you care about.
Your life is still a book with blank pages. You can't control every event that enters the story, and you don't need to write a perfect chapter today. You only need to choose one honest sentence for the next page.
So, here are our questions for you. What have you been putting off? And what small action will you take today?
Share your answer in the comments. Your sentence may encourage another English learner who is also waiting to begin.
If this conversation helped you, please like the episode, subscribe, and share it with someone who may need this reminder.
Thank you for spending this time with Beyond English Class. Keep learning, keep choosing, and be patient with your progress.
Your next page does not need to be perfect. It only needs to be yours.
We'll see you in the next episode. Take care.